Good evening, everybody. Lovely to see everyone here tonight. So I had something on my mind, and I hope that this resonates with the rest of you, but I love teaching and giving information, right? It's like one of my most favorite things to do is to either give information I already have or research more stuff that I don't know yet and then present it. But the side of myself that really practices my craft is like there's a lot of practical things that go into it that I don't feel like I either talk about or ask you guys about on what stops people from starting something where you might be stuck at, what you want to get moving forward on. This is last meeting I told you, this is the dark half of the year, and this is really where we should be listening to our internal sides that's going to be asking for something that we're wanting to balance out, that, it's the letting go of stuff, the bringing stuff in if that's the right thing for you. But this is the time of year where the reflection part really starts getting strong. So for me, of course, I went into full reflection mode on my 4-hour drive and just thinking about what could I do better for the group and get you guys to where you want to be. So that first question that I want to put out there is, what do you want from your practice, or what are you missing in your practice right now that you're looking for and haven't started? And I know, Rachel, you text me some stuff about your journey specifically, and I would love to have a phone conversation with you because it's like big. Your journey is big right now. And I know you probably need to like get it smaller, take it in chunks. So I can try to address some of this stuff with you. If there's a practice or something that you want to actually be doing, with your Rachel has recently come into her gifts very strong, very hard. And I don't know if struggle is the right word, so if I'm misspoken, but struggling to kind of get a grasp on everything and how to figure it all out as these gifts come on very strong. I can only tell you from my own experience that all I did was expose myself to as many people as I could to figure out what the message was, what was trying to happen, because in the beginning for me it was all very confusing. And I told you guys I felt like a fraud and a liar, and I was like, why do I say these things when I have no idea if they're real? The science mind was absolutely fighting with my spiritual mind, going, you're freaking crazy. And it's like, but I feel this way, you can't tell me I'm wrong. So, and it really took me getting out there and talking to people, and I had to let go of the fear of being wrong, which is something that Kat and I were just talking about before the meetup. Is sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes the fear of being wrong stops us from moving forward in a practice that we want to do. Meditation, for example, is one of those things that people are like, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to mess it up. It's not, I don't know what that looks like, feels like, whatever it is. And the only thing I can say is you start. You start with like 1 minute of focusing on a thing. And you know what they never tell you about meditation? You do not have to first focus on something, some big idea or the center of the universe. You could focus on something super happy, like an ice cream cone from when you were a kid. And if you can hold that image in your head for 1 minute, and the thoughts, you'll feel it. 15 seconds into it, thoughts will start flying into your head. Did you do the dishes? Did you make your bed? Did you is your kid late to school? I don't know, whatever comes into your head, those thoughts. And those thoughts, all those little penetrating thoughts, are the ones that your brain is trying to say, no, we don't meditate. We don't know how to do that. That's scary. You shouldn't start this. Start another day. It'll be okay. Not today. And if you can acknowledge the thoughts and let them go, which sounds hypothetical, which sounds unrealistic or whatever. The dog is already over here. That's when it's that's when you're practicing. That's when you're making the effort, where you're having your logical brain split from your creative brain, because when you're meditating, you're in your creative brain. When you're doing witchcraft, you're in your creative brain. When you're doing spells, when you're pushing your energy out there, that's all your creative brain side. And when you're in that thinking, you're not your physical body, you're not your looks, you're not your family, you're not your identity as a spouse or a lover or whatever. You're not anything. You're just creating. That's where it goes to. Those other things that start poking you and saying, you didn't do this, remember to do that, tomorrow your agenda is, that's all the stuff that stops you from being able to be in like the state that they call flow, which is exactly the same thing as when you're wanting to do a spell and you're trying to do a mantra, or you're saying something over and over to yourself and you're letting nothing else in. But that focus, that thought, I went way ahead of what I was going to start talking about, because that one is really passionate to me, because it was what stopped me for a long time. Like Rachel, just the energy flow came for me, and I was like, oh yeah, well, this is easy, because I don't even have to work at this. But when I started having to do work for myself, and I wanted my spells to be really strong, I had to start doing the mental work. And I was like, dang, nobody told me it was going to be this hard. I thought it was like herbs here, stones here, light candles, woof, and the whole thing's done. But it's more so being able to get into that flow in your head and hold an image of what you're really looking for. And that's the same thing as manifesting. So bringing in that energy and holding it, and then releasing it back out into the world. So, okay. That is just one small thing. But what I really wanted to ask tonight was, and I hope that everybody's willing to share, or wants to share, or ask a question at least, but what is holding you back right now that you want to be practicing or doing in your practice? That's the best way to put it. So if you don't have to be a witch, you don't have to be practicing spells or witchcraft, but if there's a thing that you want to be doing to get to your higher spiritual self, what's stopping you right now? Like, what is the help that you're looking for? What are you trying to overcome at this point? So I'm going to open the floor up.
Well, I think for me, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Cicely.
I don't know if you can see me, but I got my video, but I can't see nothing. I think for me, it's a lot of what you're saying. Like, it's like, and then too, like just being clear about who my audience is, and just knowing what it feels like to be in flow and feeling like I'm doing it right. But it's like you said, it's like the more you get out there, the more you're going to do it. Because I've got like a location that I can go to every month, and I'm just wasting money because it's just sitting there. And so I guess just getting started.
Yep, it is those first steps, that fear. And you said a really important thing, doing something wrong. That fear that holds us back because you think that it goes step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, take a test. Yes, you know enough, you can move on to the next level. Because that's how we've learned through the school systems and any kind of training that we're like, how do I become qualified to do something? You're tested. The only thing that's going to test you is yourself and the world. So putting yourself out there to the world will help you build that confidence, and then letting you do it for yourself. Does it feel right to you? The first few spells I did, I'm like, this is an absolute mess. I tried to do it outside, and then I realized there's so many people walking by. This was crazy. Why the heck did I go to a park? Because I wanted to be in nature. I was like, well, this is really uncomfortable. And so, it was fine tuning what felt good to me, and where I felt good. I think I told you guys I do stuff in my driveway now. And if a neighbor walks by, I just put my head down and like, I don't need your energy coming in my space. It's fine. You can see what I'm doing. Maybe they're secretly, into the occult as well. Who knows? So I stopped necessarily worrying about the people judging me. And I'm just like, I want this so bad for myself. I'm doing it. And, everybody else, you guys can all, take a step back and leave me alone. So
when you were getting started, did you have physical pain in your body? Because I don't know, it's kind of like, even they say blood clots and stuff, but it's here lately, especially when I really start to go and work on it and stuff, it's I'll get I don't know if I want to call it a pain, but it'll be like I'm sitting here right now. If I sit here this whole time for the meeting, when I go to get up, it'll be I'll be so sore, I'll have to stand here for a minute or two, and then I'll start moving. And I don't know if it's something physical or something just with worried about starting this or something.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, worry and fear create dis-ease in the body. So the more that you hang on to those emotions, the more ailments you'll bring onto yourself. The emotions that we consider negative, the ones that aren't helpful, but the ones that tear us down, like self-criticism, self-doubt, the fear, the worry, those things manifest in our physical body because they are first in our emotional and auric body. And then you create these ailments, whether it's stomach problems, like myself, my anxiety caused me a lot of stomach problems. And after I got rid of the worry for a lot of this stuff, I don't have it anymore, and I guess what drove me to that is going to doctors and trying to figure it out. And they did everything, including biopsies, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. So I had to look outside of that physical, like, where is this coming from? And, my practice helped me figure out I cannot just, manifest things in the physical world that I want to change, but also in my emotional body that is, just a couple inches outside of our physical body, where I was manifesting pain for myself because I was uncomfortable with whatever. So Cicely, I would tell you to look into, what are your thoughts daily about yourself? What's your self-talk? How many times a day do you say you're grateful for your life, for your situation, for what you have? And look at it like you're always moving forward with positive purpose. We're all supposed to have bad stuff happen to us, and we're not supposed to have it easy. Otherwise, we can't learn from it. So I know I said this, like, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, but you have to be really grateful for the stuff that hurts you the worst, because it gives you the greatest amount of growth later. When you realize that, when you can look back and say, this cut the deepest, this was my biggest wound, and maybe it took you 10 years to get over it. But as you get over it, you realize how much stronger you are. The people who don't ever get over it, they repeat that pattern. This is why we see people, attracted to the same type of people that can feed that wound and keep it open because they don't know how to close it. But that's what I would tell you to do. If you can journal some thoughts on it, or if you don't want to go into the negative side of it and look at that, make yourself little cards or something where you have positive affirmations around that you just say to yourself often. Set a reminder in your phone that's like every day at 10 o'clock, it pops up. Tell yourself you love yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself face to face and say, I love you.
See, that's what I was about to tell you. I do it, but it's because I got reminders set. So that's still good.
That's perfect. I have to set the reminders. We are still all souls having a human experience. We need the reminders to stay on track, because we're meant to become distracted here so that we can find our purpose again.
And see, I was thinking that was a bad thing, but that's good. Okay.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. It's definitely good. I have them all over the place, and especially in my car, because that's where I realized my anxiety was. I had bad anxiety in my car. I also would get very angry. My mom talks about my Tourette's, when she'd be on the phone with me, it's like cussing everybody out. And it was only there that I was that crazy person. So I had to put stuff in my car to remind me. When I start to feel that coming up, I just repeat these 4 words that I wrote on a little cute piece of paper. I literally put clear duct tape around it and hung it from my rearview mirror. It is nothing fancy. Actually, the markers are really fading now. I'm probably gonna have to redo it. But it serves as such a great reminder as soon as those feelings of uncomfortableness come up. So that's what I would tell you to do. Absolutely 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Cicely spoke first. Who is next on what is blocking you from moving forward in your practice, or what do you need from your practice that you're not getting right now?
I think mine is kind of similar to Cicely's, because I've always had my emotions manifest themselves in my physical body, and that's been happening a lot more lately. And whenever that happens, I know that it's happening, but I still get stressed and anxious about what's happening in my physical body. And so then it turns into a cycle, or I get stuck and I can't really get out of it, because like right now I'm anxious about the symptoms I'm having. Yeah, I can't become not anxious about them in order for them to go away.
Well,
that's where I'm stuck.
I'm going to challenge you on that. You said you can't not become anxious. And I get that, because our brain wants to protect ourselves. So our automatic response is to worry, because we're supposed to have, that's the flight or fight response that's being triggered in your body right now. When you feel the feelings, it climbs up the ladder all the way to, then you have a paralysis of whether it's a physical paralysis, mental paralysis. That is the human body part. Your mind, which encompasses your spirit and your soul, your energy, it absolutely can overwrite that stuff, but you're going to have to do something different. In order to change your reaction to it, you need to, and this, I don't know what you do every day, day to day, so I'm going to offer you suggestions. As soon as you get that feeling, you can do things like pinch yourself in a different location, draw yourself away from the thought, and you can physically leave your spaces. That is what I always did. I physically left. I went to a thing. I was like, find the nearest plant, look at the nearest animal. You guys know what? I actually use Instagram to get out of my head a lot, because all I do is go to Instagram and type in funny cats, and boom, I am like totally out of the mood of whatever I was in, because I'm like, oh my God, they're adorable. It's so funny. And then I forget what I was so anxious about. I'm like, oh, okay, I can step back into the real world now, because I shut my mind off and went somewhere else. And it's that redirection. If you can find something for yourself to redirect your brain when it is trying to climb that ladder all the way to paralysis, you'll do better in managing it. It'll become less. You know, at first you might have to spend 5 minutes doing the redirection, whether it's go outside, find a plant, pet an animal, watch funny cat videos, whatever it is going to be for you. But it's got to be something you really enjoy. You know, this is where people get into emotional eating. They're trying to distract themselves from that emotional pain. They go to something that's pleasurable, and all of the senses are pleasurable, right? Taste, touch, smell. So you could do smells if you want to. You could have something that's texturized. Those fidget spinners things are supposed to help for people, like to distract their brain so that they're involved in something. This reminds me of a study. I think you guys know that I have a psychology degree, but it reminds me of a study that if you see something really horrible, like car accidents, you know, whatever it is, car accidents was the main one in this study. You're supposed to immediately get on a puzzle solving game, because it stops your emotional side from connecting a memory to that visual and making a really strong photogenic memory. When you have something traumatic happen to you, the reason why you can remember it and it can replay is because you connect an emotion with that physical thing that happened. And that's what is able to torture yourself, right? Because you can bring in both sides of it. So if something traumatic happens, or you see it or whatever, if you go to something that immediately stops your brain from writing that memory for the day, you can change all that. You can lessen the effect that it has on you. So that redirect can help just in stressful situations as well. You know, I taking a walk outside. Usually when I'd get super pissed off at my desk, instead of punching my computer or something, this is back when I worked in an office and I was, you know, I wasn't as calm as I am now. I would want to like throw stuff. I'd get so angry because I had no control or whatever. And that just built up from other stuff I didn't have control over. So as soon as I felt that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm going to go walk outside. I'm going to go find a grasshopper. I'm going to, you know, find a bug on a tree, because I love insects. So I would decide that I'm going to pay attention to something else and not the thing that was like my trigger. So that redirect, I urge you to try that. And whatever it is, cute stuff, funny stuff, pretty stuff, smells, touches, anything that you can do to pull yourself out of that fear element.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, because I pay a lot of attention. I'm a problem solver, so whenever I'm having some sort of symptom, I put all my attention towards it because I want to just fix it.
Hyperfocus, that's called.
Yeah.
The hypervigilant side. Yeah. Find a tool. Make one up right now in your mind. What are you going to go to? The next time you start to have this hyper-focused attention on something, what is going to be the thing you're going to go look at and distract your brain from?
I like your idea of like going and finding the nearest plant, because that's something that I can do anywhere. But when I'm at home, I have an emotional support animal, my rabbit. So
yeah. Oh my God, I'd be picking up that rabbit all the time.
Yeah.
So you go to that, and then what you do is you try to use your senses to
I can feel that rabbit right now, how soft it is.
So that's the senses part is what you want to do to distract your brain. So petting the rabbit, talking to it, the plants even, you know, I dust off leaves or I water my plants. If I like need a break, my plants are there. I have therapy plants. I have 3 cats. They run me. I don't run them. But my plants, I'm more in control in that relationship. So I go and take care of them when stuff is just like, I need a break. So taking care of my plants makes me feel better. So it's the same thing. Touch, smell, whatever you can do to interact with it for a little bit to break that habit. So I love that. All right. I'm going to love to hear the next time you have a ladder moment. and that you used your rabbit or a plant to kind of diffuse that in your brain.
Definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Cicely, and thank you, Rachel, for sharing. It's, sometimes it's hard to talk about what we're going through, but you guys are pretty brave throwing yourselves out there to seek help. I love that. I love to be helpful. Remember, you're helping me fulfill my dream right now too. Like, this is what I love doing.
Like, I kind of want my question real quick. Like, whenever the emotional thing that we want to go to distract us from whatever that trigger is,
Yes.
like something like emotional eating, that's good or bad? Or there's no good or bad? It's just,
well, all right. So now I have to turn on a different side of myself with health, because I've definitely been an emotional eater before. It doesn't lead to good things, but it would be a distraction, like
taking a drink.
Becoming a alcoholic. I mean, it's a distraction, but it's the wrong kind. You don't want to build an unhealthy habit to get rid of the other unhealthy habit. You don't want to compound the things together, but it would be making yourself a healthy snack, and so if you're going to eat something, have it be meaningful. Don't just turn to food because it's comfort. It's just that I said that because that was one of the things that people do a lot. We don't know what else to do, so we immediately turn to something that tastes good, something that feels good. There's people out there that, partner after partner after partner, because eventually after you've been with somebody, the satisfaction of the newness wears off. So they need that. I almost want to call it a high, to get the endorphins going again. It's like, oh, this makes me happy. Yes, I like this. This is exciting. This is new. This is fresh. I want to keep this going. Well, the moment that gets dull, it takes more and more each time to make it feel good, Yeah, you guys are going to send me on a road with like sex addicts and stuff, and how interesting that is on
no way
how
before
they get
you
there.
Go down that road.
no, I'm not going to. But that's what
we're not on that talk show.
That's what it leads to. If you try to divert your brain into something else, and you do it in a habit that is not healthy, smoking, drinking, sexual pleasures, food pleasures, you're going to wind up with a different problem. So, all right. So before we go down that road, you were going to say something.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Well, I was going to say that, so I'm going to preface my sort of question, I guess, here with, I've been a witch now, practicing, learning to practice for 2 years since I moved to Florida. And that may not even be accurate, because I think in the beginning I just watched.
You're overthinking it.
I just watched from the sidelines. But at any rate, I got very interested in what my daughters were doing and started watching from the sidelines and eventually participating and reading and things like that. So I do a lot of reading. I'm even trying to remember what I read by writing it down and starting a whole book of things that I want to remember that I can go back to, later on, that I know I'm going to use.
Yes.
But my question is, what I would like to be able to do, and by the way, I'm just going to make a confession here. I have not done a spell or a ritual on my own in 2 years at all. I instead have watched my daughter do them, and she's, like a master. So I look at her. It's very intimidating when, I watch her do so she did a protection spell on my house, and she came over here. And I mean, if you guys saw the pictures from this, you would be blown away, because she had plants and flowers and things and all this. And, we did a little circle right here on the floor. And I was just, every time she does something, I'm blown away. So I'm trying to live up to that, y'all. But my biggest thing is, like, how do I start? I'd like to create some kind of daily ritual where where something very practical. For example, I get very frustrated at work, very easily frustrated at work.
I'm gonna punch the computer.
No, but just little things annoy me. And I would like to just kind of start my day with some kind of a Zen thing where I'm like, okay, today I'm not going to allow these little annoyances, because they're stupid things. Somebody asks for something, I'm like, you're so effing stupid. Why are you asking me for that? That's not even, I'm like, come on, it's such bad energy. So I'd like to be able to bring good energy. So that's one thing. So, and then another thing is I'd like to have some other kind of like, I need to know how to do it because I'm a very hands-on person and I'm a very visual person. And I need to sit down with the stuff like I've seen you do with, she sits down with the tarot spread and she's got like a cloth, and then we've got some tarot cards, and then we've got we've got crystals going in a certain direction, certain crystals for this. That's, to me, that's kind of practical stuff that I feel like at this point in time, I should already know, but I don't know. And I would like to have those kind, like, how do I do that? What is the gratitude? I don't know. Does that make sense to anybody? If any of you guys experience that also, where you're just like, I'd really like to do something to bring some positive energy into my life, but what do I do besides thinking it? I personally, I need to see some stuff. I'm one of them people, I'm one of them witches that's going to have every tool imaginable. I will buy every wand that I find and every crystal, eventually.
I know for me, like, and the thing about it is like some of these things I've done in the past, but then I've I guess I didn't make it a habit. And so I got out of the practice of it. But I know one thing that helps, like first thing in the morning is just to, like you said, like say thank you, gratitude. But then like the Kabbalists, they have these 5 things that they say, and you can say them throughout the day too. But like the first one is, and I guess you can get a crystal or something to hold as you say them or something just to resonate with it. But the first one is like, just for today, I will not worry. And then the second one is, just for the day, I will not anger. And then the third one is, just for the day, I will count my many blessings. And the fourth one is, just for the day, I will be honest in all my dealings. And then the fourth one is something like, just for the day, I will love all my fellow human beings. And so you can say it like first thing in the morning, and then throughout the day, like if you find yourself getting upset or whatever, and just like really holding the crystal or whatever and thinking about what it is that you're saying and how these make you feel. And when you do it regularly, like it's actually a habit.
I feel like I want a little altar at my desk with candle and crystal and like maybe I write something. I don't know. Is that a way? Card? Is that a way to do it? Like create a little space. It's like, this is for today. Because that's a lot for me. I have to say, I really appreciate those suggestions. Like
5 things too many.
One thing. I don't have. I love that though. That's very simple. But like I said, I'm super visual and super hands-on. I want the smell. I want to see it. I want to touch it. So.
Yeah, okay. And I guess you could write that on the rock. Like I love it, but like, don't worry, don't anger.
Yeah. And then when I start getting that way, I could pick up the rock and start massaging it.
You're giving me ideas now to give me some big rocks.
Well, they make crystals in a palm stone thing. I think they've been called worry stones, but they're just supposed to fit within your palm, and that's what you sort of do with them as you think about a thing.
I have one.
Yeah. You remember the big Labradorite one that you had for that is
I did give it back to you.
You did, yeah. It's too big. It's a little too big as a palm stone, but that would be the same idea that you carry it with you. So when you're feeling, this is the same thing as the redirection when I was saying to Rachel, when you're feeling those feelings, you're like, I need to get my crystal out. Hold on, let me just, and you zen yourself, right? You're like, okay, not gonna let this emotion take over my mind. I'm stronger than that. I don't want to feel this. Let that shit go. It's not important. So you said a lot of things, and I'm going to address the very first one that I don't know if anybody's ever heard this before, but this is what I do now. I'm not going to say I've always done this. This is what I do now when I'm very frustrated with mankind. I get frustrated with them, all of them. I imagine they're all like a little old grandma and they just don't know any better and they need help. And you're really interacting with somebody who, no matter their attitude and their anger and their situation, like we have no idea what other people are dealing with. And imagine them in this is a bad word, but like in a pitiful situation. Imagine that this morning they woke up, their dog died. They have no family members close to them, so they're alone every single day. that they are broke all the time and do not get to get outside and enjoy anything. So they are like this sad, lonely person. You might treat them better if you feel empathetic towards them. So whatever story you have to make up about people that you run into that are just a-holes, I make up stories for people all the time that I want to, you know, that my initial reaction is like, what a jerk. And then I turn it and I'm like, oh, you know, I have no idea what they went through today. Like maybe today is the day that their parent died or they had, you know, something devastating happen to them. And so they are not aware of me and my feelings. And I shouldn't take that personally, that they are doing what they're doing. I can control me, not them. So my first advice is like, treat everybody like a little old grandma and they just need help across the road. You don't have to be mad at them. That doesn't mean that you always have to help them either. Healthy boundaries. If you're too busy to walk her across the road, somebody else will get to her or whatever. But it's thinking about people in a way that so that you don't get angry at them. So that our immediate reaction is no longer like, you're a freaking idiot and I don't even want to help you because you're so dumb. That's something that we build up over time, you know, because we don't want to deal with people's problems. Like I have enough of my own problems. I don't want to deal with yours too. But as a job or when we're, you know, driving in Florida, how irritating it can be, if you make up those
or at Walmart.
I mean, yeah, people in line at the grocery store sometimes, just wherever you find the annoyances of human interaction, you can make excuses for them if it's better than just, you know, like allowing yourself to get angry, that you sit there and you observe it. All right, personal story really quick. My husband, I love him to death, but he cannot wait in a line for like 3 seconds. He will make a noise. He will make a face. He will stare people down. It is so embarrassing. And I'm like, honey, they're just having a conversation. Well, they're taking too long. I'm like, they're enjoying it. It's a very small conversation between a clerk and, you know, the person checking out or whatever. And he gets so annoyed by that. And I was like, you really got to slow down. Like, yeah, we're not in a rush. There's nothing happening to where we need to get out of here so fast. Like just bringing him back to that realization of everything's fine. Nobody's dying. This is just normal, you know, let it flow. Don't force it. The more we force it, we get irritated because we can't control it. The more we can't control things, the more we try to control other things in our life. And before you know it, you're all out of balance. So everybody is your grandma. Okay.
I feel like that could lead to some condescending behavior if you weren't careful, though.
Elder abuse?
You know?
No,
like,
abuse.
You know, like I'll think, you know, you're feeble-minded or something.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be super helpless, but it could be. It's switching your mind from being angry that they don't do for themselves and they want you to help them in some way, and figuring out how to switch that to, I would like to be helpful. Here's how much help I have to give. And then that's it. Because there's also the healthy boundary part. So it's changing it from anger and frustration to, that doesn't really bother me. I'm not going to let that rile me up because that's wasted energy on something that I really want to give my energy to this other thing, you know, whatever it is you're doing. So it's switching. It's the redirect. So Rachel's thing really goes hand in hand with this, because if we redirect our automatic thoughts and our automatic reactions or feelings towards that situation, we change it. You know, this is kids too. All right, another slight personal story. I have a kid, he's effing up a lot right now and it's very hard. I want to go all militant, crazy psycho mom on him, but I walk myself down that road and I'm like, where will that lead our relationship? Where does that leave us? You know, and my husband, this is not his kid, my husband is like, you're too easy on him, blah 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 blah. All right, well, like I might be easy on him in your eyes because I'm not going in there, you know, whatever. But I'm also not damaging our relationship. I'm not saying things that I don't mean. I'm not coming in there and just always attacking him with like questions and anger and whatever, because over time that matters. No matter if it's me trying to gain control and feel good about the situation, that doesn't help him either. So that exchange of energy, like what we bring to the table with other people, that can either build into something that explodes later, you know, with you saying something you don't mean or them or whatever, or always having like, oh my God, it's Nancy again. Here's Nancy with all her problems, you know, and we tend to go down that road with people. Or it's like, oh, okay, blank slate, new day, what's going on? And really trying to stay true to yourself and who you want to be. I want to be that calm, nurturing, reassuring person. I have my limits and I just walk away when I can't, when my give a crap is out and I'm like, gotta step away for a while. I need to recharge, the recharging ourselves after bad situations. So I think the next thing for you would be you stop that automatic reaction with being angry in whatever way you can.
Frustrated. It's really frustration. Annoyances that I allow to escalate to being super frustrated and pissed off. And
you go up a ladder.
I go up a ladder. Yeah.
To then redirect. As soon as you recognize that, you'll do something physical. Either like slam the mouse down, something, right? There'll be this like physical reaction to the feeling. As soon as that happens, you're like, oh, I'm on the ladder. I need to back down off the ladder. Go grab your rock. Like Cicely said, have a small mantra if you want. Right then, light the incense and don't go back to work until then. No, that's like 30 minutes. That's probably too long of a break. But, lighting an incense to give you a certain amount of time. Asking, I ask my guides a lot for stuff. I know I like do work with universal energy, but I always ask my guides, I'm like, oh God, please get me through this. I need help right now. Give me a sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, something. So I often talk to my guides about stuff. So then it's turning your mind to something else that you do have control over.
Okay.
Everyone's your grandma. Redirect your energies.
Okay.
And talk to your guides or something.
Okay, so that was part one. So what about the daily rituals? Like, is there something that I can start my day with that kind of like sets my path for the day? Like,
yes, absolutely.
And if so, what would that be?
So I think that this is different for everybody in different stages. And I always come back to this question, sort of like what I said is, what are you missing? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve a more zenful state? Do you want to be happier? Do you want to be healthier? Whatever direction you're seeking, you pick a small daily habit for that. Like when I was meditating a lot, I really wanted to build a stronger connection to the other side. So my meditations went from 5 minutes to within a week, I could meditate for an hour, and it was insane to me that I could sit somewhere for an hour with my eyes closed and be in this whole other world. But that's what helped me get to a comfortable place. And you know what? After you guys have these habits or rituals that you want to do, if they start out small and get big, don't be afraid to walk away from them for a time. You do not have to commit to meditating an hour for the rest of your life. It's just during that growth period where you're forming it, or you're fixing something, or you're recentering, you're adjusting. Because there'll be a time when then you don't need that anymore. So that's the other thing. Once you start something like this, don't be afraid to walk away from it when you know the time is like, oh, I don't feel like I need to do this right now. Now I'm working towards something else or on something else. So I would have to ask you, what is it that you're seeking more in your life? In your practice, not your life. Maybe that's too big, but in your practice, like a feeling, if it's gratitude, there's something called 10-minute gratitude walks. The walking part helps our brain stay active and us thinking and looking around and observing. And you're also outside, which is great for the mind and body. But you walk outside and you look around and you just say all the things you're grateful for. And it can be things that are in front of you, or it can be things that are back at your house or your family or whatever. But you just start acknowledging for like 10 minutes straight. I'm really grateful for this. I'm really grateful for this. And that's it. You just acknowledge the things you're grateful for. I say 10 minutes because that's how long it takes me to get around my block. So I make it my 10-minute gratitude walk. But you could be out there for a couple minutes or even longer if you really need it. That helps us refocus on being happy. When we are acknowledging what we're grateful for, you really feel more whole and like happy inside, because you're no longer in the wanting or needing stage. I don't have this, I don't have that. You're not thinking about your lack. You're thinking about what you have and what you're really grateful for. So it's a good way to acknowledge the gifts in your life. And like I said, when you get to that pain where you've experienced a hurt in your past, you're like, I can be really grateful for that pain because look at what it brought me. Like, I'm really happy with where I'm at. So it's that whole like looking back at what you've been through and going, well, it got me here, so must be good. I must have to say I'm grateful for it. Got to acknowledge that.
But I never did the walk where I do like the gratitude, but I do the kind of like mindful meditation walk. And it's where as you're walking, you're like taking notice of all your senses. And then in addition to that, like the cars and the people that are going by, you're wishing them a blessed day and a happy day. And kind of like you're sending good vibes to everybody you see, animals, plants, whatever. And so that'll help with the whenever somebody does irritate you, like right there in front of you, it's like that's another person. Let me send them a blessing too.
Right, absolutely. And the way that I always like get myself back into that if I'm ever out of it is I go, oh my gosh, what if that, what would I feel if that person died in front of me or something? Like death for me is definitely the line of, oh, it wakes me up, I guess, because of the situations that I've been in where it's like, whoa, all right, automatic feelings, no good. Like life is life and all life matters to me, even bugs, except mosquitoes maybe. But like all life really matters to me. And I don't like to see anything die. Like a little piece of me crushes inside when I have to pull, little frogs or bugs out of my pool. And I'm like, damn it, why'd you go in there? It's not good for you. So that's how I refocus myself if I'm not there yet, is that same thing, like walking and talking to yourself about the acknowledgement of it. The mindfulness, I like what you said too. You said acknowledging the sentences as far as like what you're saying to yourself. Super important.
Like your senses, like what you're feeling, what you're smelling, what you're tasting.
Yeah. I was thinking sentences, but you said senses. Yeah. Be grateful that you have a sense of smell. I think my sister lost hers with COVID. It's been almost a year since she's been able to smell anything. And it's kind of funny, but I also feel bad for her a little bit.
Yeah, she's like, I haven't smelled a fart in a year.
That's literally what she said to us the other day. I was like, oh my God.
I'm like, well, that's a good thing. She's like, no, not,
She more misses like the smell of food and maybe her perfume.
Yeah. Well, another thing, she's like, I don't even know if I stink, because I can't smell.
It is kind of funny, but I feel bad for her. So yeah, being grateful for all of your senses.
So I have a question. So would an altar play a role in like something that you would do every morning to maybe say that you're grateful? Would that, could that be a part of it so that I can have those, those things that I need, those tools that I need to kind of like reinforce what I'm saying to myself?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a good time to talk about altars and as far as their differences, right? I mean, most people know altars for witches are for the spell work, and that's awesome and totally fine. A dedicated space where you do your crafting or you put things together, whatever it is, indoors, outdoors, wherever. But there's also the altars where it's just an honoring space.
Is it the same altar?
So the intention is different, and that's all it always comes down to with us, right? What is our intention when we create a space, and what is it supposed to mean and bring, and what is the energy we put into it? So if you say you had a grateful altar, an altar for gratefulness, and that is what you focused on when you went to this altar every day, that is what you focused on. And if you put things on the altar that made you feel grateful, that's where you're able to focus that energy and you build it around that. So with spell crafting, our big thing is just that we are putting our intention and our energy into either out into the universe to affect change, into a thing to bring it something, bringing materials together to help the manifestation of something. So if you had that gratitude altar, that would be the exact same thing where you would go to it, and that's where you would dedicate your time and space for that one specific purpose. And the dedication to an altar, this is really simple. And I don't know if anybody has heard this or done it or whatever, but if you want to take a space out in your house or work or whatever for an energy that you're looking for, gratefulness, abundance, whatever it is, patience. When you clear off the space, that's the best thing to do is clear it and clean it, like actually wipe it down. And when you're wiping it down, remember that if you're going counterclockwise, you're removing whatever was there before. So if there was energy there before, if there was negativity, if you're really just trying to make this a free and clear space to set new intention, you want to go counterclockwise. After you clear it off, all you're going to do is sit with that empty space, and you're going to let this area know your intention. And it's just speaking it to it, whether you speak it verbally, whether you say it in your head and you just sit there with it and you're just like, you are now my space for gratitude. And every day, you know, I'm going to do something that helps me feel grateful, be grateful, acknowledge my gratefulness, gratitude. I think I went off on a different word. And bring things to this area that help remind me that I'm grateful. You know, a picture of your family, you know, your pets, whether it's a plant. I love nature, so I would have nature things if I had a gratitude table or an altar. And you can give it as much significance in your space as you want to, or as little. It can be something that you're like, this is where I put all my nature finds, you know. I like picking up random shit on the path when I'm in the woods, and I'll bring it home, and I don't have a space for it. So you can make your, you know, an altar or a table space for just the stuff that you like from the woods. It's like, look at this cool piece of fungus I found. I really like it. That's me. Random, you know, snail shells and whatever. But
mushrooms. I saw mushrooms this morning and I just wanted to pick them. I was like, oh, they're so cute. They're so tiny.
I do.
You pick them?
They don't dry well, but I pick them. Because you can spread the spores in your yard and get more. So if you like
they're so cute.
Yeah.
Their mushrooms in Florida are different than the ones that were in Kansas. The ones in Kansas were fat. And these are little skinny guys with thin little crown. Anyway, and some of them are flat and then some of them go like that. They're adorable. They look like little, they look like they should be in fairy gardens. You know, I don't know. For those of you that are in Florida, maybe you've seen what I'm referring to. And if you've ever lived anywhere else where they were big fat mushrooms that grew in the yard, totally different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, everything's scrawny in Florida.
Just don't eat them. And wash your hands before you touch food.
You know, so that's helpful. So that's helpful.
Good. And I would love to, you know, assign you guys homework and be like, okay, next week, everybody come back and show me what you've done. I want to see everybody's art project, or, you know, but something that you want to work towards. I was hoping that everybody would set up a thing that they wanted to try to practice over the next week to improve a part of their life that they want to improve, whether it doesn't even have to necessarily be with your spiritual practice, because if you're working on any other part of your life, that all aids. Thank you, Tank. That all aids the rest of your life as well. Like, all these things fit together. If you have a very healthy spiritual life, that'll elevate your family life, your relationships, your work life. Like, they all go hand in hand. So no matter which area of your life you're working on, it's going to improve another area. And it's kind of a cascading effect where, you know, things get calm from one section to another. So who wants to start with what they're going to try to work on for the week ahead?
I will.
Okay, you start.
I'm actually going to create a little gratitude space, I think, because I think that it will, you know, it's just a good way to start. I feel like it's a good way to start the day, to just wake up and have this, you know, attitude of gratitude. And because I just feel like that would just flow into everything else and make me more patient and, you know, and not let just little things annoy me. So that's going to be my thing. And then I'll
take a picture of it.
Take pictures of it and share next week, or put it on our meetup next week. So that's what I'm going to do.
Or you can put it on the meetup for this week too. The pictures are all there. When you go to our group's pictures, you can see all the ones that we've posted, no matter which meeting they were on. But all right, so I'm expecting a picture of some kind of gratitude altar.
Okay.
All right. I'm excited to see what it looks like. There's no wrong way to do it. So whatever Kat decides to put on her gratitude altar, and don't put the naked picture of me when I'm little. That's my ass, okay? Don't do that. She has it on a shelf in the house. It's, you know.
She's not, you're not, you can't see that you're naked. She's naked, but you can't see. She's sitting down. So it's not like her girl parts are showing.
These are showing. These are
There was nothing there.
I know. I was like 2.
These 2. You were 2. There was nothing there. Now you're going to make me go get the picture and show
No,
everybody.
that's what I'm asking you. Not you. Don't upload embarrassing pictures of me. That was the whole point of that. I know you're gonna put something with your family, probably.
I do have a picture of my family that I love.
Yeah.
Your ex-husband's in it, though.
No, Mom, you can't put people's exes in it.
I can't wipe him out. He's the father of my grandson. I think we have some work to do here, ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't married to that one.
Okay, well, that's technicality. Whatever.
You ever see one of your pictures of your exes and you just want to vomit? Yeah. My mom keeps them at her house. It's so much fun. When I bring my now husband over and he's like, oh, look at 1 and 2 and how many other. It's terrible. I'm grateful that you hang on to the past, Mom. I love it.
I'm hanging on to the past. It's a memory.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Rachel, I'm going to go to you. What's one thing that you can work on this week that you can either talk about or show us, or something that I can kind of hold you accountable for that you're going to work on? Because I'm going to be looking forward to hearing about it or seeing it or something.
Yeah. So I do have lots of ideas.
Oh, good.
I'm definitely going to do the thing where I have something else to focus on when I'm being hyper vigilant about all my problems and trying to fix them right away. Because I do really like using my senses, and I think that will be really helpful.
Yeah.
And then I've also been like wanting to set up an altar of some sort. I just didn't know how, and so I'm going on vacation this next week, but after that, I know how I want to set up my altar now, because I don't know what intention I have for it, but I have like in the same spot where I have all my crystals and oils, I have like my backpack and my bank stuff, and that's just messing with the intention.
Sure.
So
Yep.
I want to clear that out as well.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. Now, would you be able to send a picture of it? You don't have to put anything with it. Doesn't have to be anything personal, but we'll know, the ones of us that were in the meeting. And I just want to acknowledge that James booped out of here before we could call on him. You see that?
I noticed that. He's like, no homework for me.
Yeah, I'm going to message him. I am totally going to message him and be like, James, what's going on? You know? What? No homework for you. Yeah, I'm going to find out what's up with that. Well, that's wonderful. And you know what? That's, I just really recently redid my altar, like my actual altar, because I work in the same place that I have my altar and I do my crafts there. So I have like 3 desks sort of that all face around the room. And I noticed that I was being very bad to my altar where I put my intention stuff. And so I decided after I cleaned it and all of that, I was like, nothing gets set on here. I'm not setting my phone down on there just to hold it. I'm not putting my coffee cup down on there because I don't have a spot for it on my desk. Like I decided no more, you're going to treat this space like, you should. And so I just held myself to that same, like, hey lady, what are you doing here? So you're not giving it the attention that it should have. So I love that you're going to do the same thing. Book bags and bank statements don't necessarily make an altar special. Yeah.
Well, unless you're going to travel somewhere or you want to learn more. I mean, there could be intentions involved with book bags and bank statements.
I mean,
True, but not right now.
Yeah.
Maybe down the road.
All right, Cicely, what are you going to do for this week?
Well, I think I want to start my daily walking meditation back, and I want to add the gratitude with it. And I think I want to start like around 6 or early in the morning before it gets hot.
Yeah.
And so I want to do that.
So what would you be able to show or somehow acknowledge that you were going to do this for 7 days? Like what's at the end of that for you? What's something tangible? Do you write something on a note card to repeat for yourself? Is it going to be maybe you always take the same stone with you when you go, something like that? Think about something
like
tangible.
Take a picture or something like one that like this. You mean just for me or to post on the meetup group?
Well, for you specifically, because when we add something physical to it, it holds us more accountable. It puts it like in our forefront so that we can't forget about it. But then it could be something that you share with us or you talk about it. It doesn't have to be a picture, but if it's something tangible, it'll be easier for you. But
well, maybe my walking poles. I usually take my walking sticks.
Okay.
All right. Like that. They're just like little seed veins you walk with them.
What if you attached a crystal to your walking sticks? Quartz.
Oh, okay.
Quartz, just wrap wire around it and attach it, because quartz is and it can cleanse and clear. So as you're going through the motions with that quartz, it's becoming your gratitude crystal.
Okay. And I didn't think about that because one of the reasons, especially since COVID, I don't know why, but before it's like I wasn't scared to walk early morning and all that, but I've got a little bit more nervous now. So when you said that, I got a piece of amethyst. I could attach that to one of them, and
yes, sure, yeah, that'll help.
Maybe a new beginning.
Awesome. All right, Trent, what's going to be your homework for this coming week? Or not homework, what's going to be your thing that you work on?
Well, I guess we can stick to the altar theme since a couple people are doing that. I guess I could try an elemental altar.
Oh, I love that. Yep.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try an elemental altar and do some pictures for the group.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
Awesome.
Cool deal.
Well, I do not know. For me, I should probably have one too, since I'm a son of everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I'm drawing a blank. Anybody want to throw me help me out on what all right. You know what I haven't done lately is connect with my cards a lot. I just got a new deck. It's the archetype cards from Kim Kranz. They're very different. They're definitely not for beginners. They're pretty deep. So I got them, I don't know, like a month ago, and I pulled 2 cards and then that was it. I wrote about them and then I just kind of forgot about it. It's like, sometimes I'm really good at starting stuff, sometimes not so good at the finishing. So I'm going to commit to pulling a card every day from that deck to see how it aligns with the path that I'm on right now. So I will post probably 7 photos is too much, but maybe at the end of the week, I'll gather them all up and pull and put that, like, this was my journey for the week to really keep myself focused and grounded. I don't know if you guys are the same, but sometimes after Mondays and getting in my head of all spiritual and like upliftedness, Tuesday comes and I'm like, back to business, and I work at my desk. I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything for my practice. And that's always disheartening the next week when I'm like, damn, I'm really
and that's exactly how I feel. Like I don't feel like I do anything for my practice.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to do something.
Yeah.
That was
aware.
That was one of the things that I was trying to articulate when I was talking about, what is something that I can do every day. And I think with my gratitude altar is what I'm going to do every day. Once I get it set up, is I'm going to start my day lighting a candle and then saying something, or maybe writing a little note and putting it in jars, Maybe I have a gratitude jar. That's corny, but hey,
It's not
maybe
corny.
I end up with a big jar of all these things that I'm grateful for. At least it's something conscious that I'm doing that's getting me, I feel like it would put my mind on the right. I just think it's a good, like I start my day with a walk. I think it's a good way to start my day.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's an acknowledgement towards the path that you're on.
Yeah.
The way that we get off our path so easily is that we forget to do the things that make us feel good about our path. So this is just that acknowledgement.
And I think when you're new, like for me being so new to this, I haven't established those practices yet. And so I feel like I really need to do that. I need to take these steps and start doing these practical things that I can incorporate as part of my day, my life, my week, my month, my year, whatever that is.
And so the purpose of this, as you guys do a week's worth of something that centers you, brings you back to this purpose, the daily practice of it is where on day 1, it's just a thing. And on day 2, you're like, you have a new thought about it. And on day 3, there'll be even a bigger new thought about it. And it'll lead you in a path of discovering something or asking a question about yourself or about your environment or something else. The practice isn't just to do the routine thing every day. It's to move you through to a new point eventually, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. That is what the small habit does over time. So that's why I'm encouraging something practical to do for a week, and then we'll post about it or talk about it next Monday. which is only a week before Lunasal. Oh my goodness. The first harvest holiday. There's 3, but it's the first harvest holiday. It's another big party like Midsummer is, but yeah. Oh man. Get ready for pumpkins. Pumpkins are coming. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much.
Jamie, what's your mom's name?
Cat.
Cat. Oh, okay. When she said, I just want to tell this real quick, because when she said that about every morning, like lighting a candle and how she's a visual person, it made me think maybe that's something you can do if you need to write something down, like journal it, like as part of like the gratitude, like anything that bothers you the day before, or you think is going to bother you that day, like write it down and put something like maybe I'm going to be thankful for today, so I'm not going to let this bother me, and write whatever it is, and then burn it in the fire.
Oh,
I like that idea. I knew that's where you were going with the fire because in patience of mine, let me just burn this up in a flame.
Tankers, thank you. Okay, we know there's somebody there.
He knew a dog person was talking.
He sees
I
somebody
love that.
walking by
Thank
the
you.
window.
Thank you, Cicely, for that
Yeah.
suggestion. I love it.
All right, you guys. Rachel, have a safe trip. I don't know where you're going, but be safe and we'll see you next time, okay?
Thank
Take
you.
your amethyst with you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you guys.